Did you know that one gun simultaneously changed the nature of modern warfare and the political shaping of the 20th century? Yes, we're talking about the iconic, rugged, and revolutionary AK-47. This is the story of how this firearm became the most influential rifle in history and the unexpected consequences that followed. Stick around. You're about to see why the AK-47 is so much more than just a gun. Let's rewind to the late 1940s. The world was reeling from the aftermath of World War II, and Joseph Stalin's Soviet Union sought to arm its soldiers with a weapon that could define a new era of combat. Enter Mikhail Kalashnikov, a Soviet tank mechanic with no formal education in firearms design. Motivated by his personal experiences during the war, Kalashnikov aimed to create a gun that would be reliable, simple to use, and effective regardless of conditions. And that he did, crafting a firearm that would soon become ubiquitous, the AK-47. The brilliance of the AK-47 lies in its design. First and foremost, it was built with simplicity in mind. Almost every soldier on the planet could learn to operate and maintain this weapon with minimal training. And while most firearms can falter in muddy, sandy, or freezing environments, the AK-47 thrives. Its legendary durability turned it into a weapon that soldiers could depend on in almost any situation. Whether you're trudging through the humid jungles of Vietnam or battling cold, harsh winters of Afghanistan, the AK-47 just keeps firing. But it wasn't just soldiers who praised this firearm. It soon became clear that the AK-47 wasn't just a weapon of war. It became a symbol of revolution. During the Cold War, the Soviet Union exported the AK-47 to its allies and proxies across the globe. Soon, it wasn't only professional militaries using this gun. It was freedom fighters, resistance groups, and even insurgent forces. For many of these groups, the AK-47 symbolized defiance, resilience, and anti-imperialism. It was seen as a leveling of the playing field, a way for the underdog to take on the superpower. And here's the most mind-bending part. There are more AK-47s in the world today than any other rifle in history. A staggering 100 million of them. Just let that sink in. Think about the sheer scale. The AK-47 wasn't just a weapon. It became so integrated into human culture that it shows up in political flags and insignias, and even in popular media as a legendary artifact. But wait, it gets more fascinating. The AK-47 didn't just change how wars were fought. It altered geopolitics and economies. It became the firearm of choice, not just for nations, but for guerrillas, warlords, and rebel fighters. This spread has had profound implications. Armed groups in regions like Africa, the Middle East, and Latin America often relied on AK-47s for both combat and as a means of control. In some war-torn areas, the gun became a form of currency, exchanged for goods and services. Can you imagine? This one firearm influencing entire economies? Of course, the AK-47's prominence hasn't come without controversy. Its pervasive use in modern conflicts has led to countless casualties. And because it's easy to replicate, there are now dozens of variations and knockoffs. Each copy bears the name Kalashnikov, a tribute to the man who designed it and changed the course of history twice. You might be wondering, how does Mikhail Kalashnikov feel about what his invention became? Amazingly, in his later years, he reportedly expressed some regret. He once wrote, "I wish I had invented a machine that people could use for farming, for things like tractors. But arms are what came out of my work. I wouldn't have wanted them to be used by terrorists or bandits." A poignant reflection from a man whose invention was birthed by necessity but spiraled into cultural and political legend. The AK-47 is not just a gun, it's a phenomenon, a global icon, and a cautionary tale about the unintended consequences of invention. As you reflect on its legacy, remember this: some tools change the way we live, others change the way we fight. Few, like the AK-47, do both with such dramatic effect. And that's why this firearm isn't just a piece of metal, but an irrevocable chapter of human history.